repeat the question. What are some of the biggest challenges or misunderstandings you faced while growing up?
That's all can of words. Probably the biggest struggle I had with my mom is just all the unhealthy things she allowed into our home. Whether it was men or drugs or just constantly moving around because she was doing her own thing with whatever she was doing. That was probably the biggest challenge because I never felt stable with anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But with that, I think that has shaped who you are as a mother and as a person. As hard as that was, it's like you took that experience and you're like, this is how I'm not going to be. And knowing your mom, you are and have been the complete opposite of that. Like 360, seriously. And so I think that even though that was not the upbringing any child should ever experience, I think that it taught you a lot, and it taught you, again, how you are an amazing mother, and I think that that experience taught you not only how to be...
You have the Kleenex over there, okay, so take it easy.
We can shove it your way.
We're British today.
Oh, hey, we can do the entire podcast. Okay, that is so not British.
That
there
was
we
like
go.
Aussie.
I don't even know what the heck that was.
Oh, we should totally. That was an American Aussie.
But I think the experience that you had with your mom shaped the amazing mom that you are. But with saying that, I think that you would have been an amazing mom regardless of your experience with your mom. Because it's who you are. It's who you are in your heart and who you are in your core. Like,
I did always want to be a mama.
Yeah.
And I'd like to say that between one daughter and two daughters and one, well, you're not a daughter, you're a niece, you guys are better moms than what I am. I know that. And I think than what Nancy is. You guys have, I've told you several times you're a great mom and you're better than I was. And it's not just to blow smoke. It's, you guys are better moms.
I mean, I think that goes to different levels, though. And I did appreciate this about my mom, too, at the end. And definitely, I lean on you a lot now as a praying grandma. Like, I believe, but I don't pray all the time. Like, that's not part of my daily walk. But I know you have my back and the kids' back. And as you being, my mother figure and their grandmother figure, I really rely on that. So that's kind of how you help me be a better mom.
That is nice. That's beautiful.
And I will share that, I think it was a couple of years ago, you and I'm not sure what it was, but you had came out and said, the whole time I was growing up, I never heard I love you, I did not get a hug, and I didn't even realize that. And I told myself, no, that's never going to happen. And every so often, I text Nicole and Valerie. I always want you to know, I love you. I am so proud of you.
Slide in the box.
Because, I mean, they're my babies. And a lot, and when they were growing up, I did mistreat them because I was mistreated. And so I thought that's just the way it was.
Well, we weren't shown love.
Hurt people.
Exactly.
Yeah, we weren't
So
shown love.
I would not consider what you did to me mistreatment.
Okay.
Maybe Valerie.
No, I get that.
But not to me, my sister. I don't think you mistreated us, honestly.
Okay. Well, thank you.
I think you just struggled.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, for both. As you became a mom, what helped you most to process through your triggers or emotional moments? Well, Well, what about you? What has helped
Oh my God.
you through your triggers and emotional moments? I know that we've been working really hard with that. So talk to us about that.
Mom like gives me big bear hug, and I take deep breaths with her,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah, because we all have a lot of triggers, right? Things
Yeah.
that set us off or make us feel like our lids flipped.
pass to Mama.
All right.
But you and me do a lot of work with that together because mommy also has triggers, and there are sometimes that I yell, right? Because you make me angry, right? And you don't like that. So then we have to separate. We take our breaths. Sometimes we'll do that together. Sometimes we just need a couple minutes, right? But we always try and hug at the end and apologize, right? To kind of get through that together and talk it through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nicole,
Mhm.
you're up. You're up, my dude.
I think my kids are so forgiving and loving to me. And just like, I think it's definitely helped me to want to be better for them. And I mean, there's definitely still times where I'll be triggered by something and not even understand why I'm triggered.
Mm-hmm.
And then it takes me a little bit of time to understand, if I ever do. There's still things I don't know why I'm triggered by it. I think the thing that I feel still continuously triggered by, and probably always will, is whenever I hear like complaints about them not having a great life of any capacity, because oh my God, they have a great life. They have such a good life, and they have two loving parents who love each other a lot, and there's never been domestic violence, there's never been addiction, and I think that they have it so easy that sometimes I'm like, do not. I do not want to hear about this.
Yeah.
Which isn't necessarily fair, because they still have their own things, and I'm not perfect, and my husband's not perfect, but he's damn near close, though, if I'm being honest. He's good, but like, I don't know, it's hard. It's a work in progress.
Yeah.
But I definitely think having 3, and I've never had a daughter, so I don't know, but for me, what they say about boys and how they are with their mom has been true. How they're very loving and forgiving and caring toward their mother. And I've never experienced anything other than that with even with my son, who's more like my husband and less emotional.
Which son?
Eli.
For me, like my boys, except my middle one.
Always the middle one.
Who's the middle one?
That's fine.
So my middle one is very forgiving. He is very loving, very, okay, I'll give you a hug, Mom. But my oldest and youngest, it's like, get the hell away from me. I want nothing to do with you. I'm like, okay. My oldest and I struggled a lot just because I was so young when I had him, and because of his disability that he has, and we struggled a lot and still do. And my younger one, he's such an introvert, and because I'm not, I struggle with that a lot, because I'm like, how do I help you? How do I connect with you? How do I? And so I have conversations with him. It's more one-sided, me having conversations with him. But I feel like as a parent, at least for me, that evolving with my children has really helped. evolving with them, knowing what is in their best interest. And also, too, what I've noticed has been really helpful for me and my boys is letting them grow up.
Yeah.
Like giving them certain freedoms at certain points in their life and trusting that they're going to be good kids. And they are. All three of my boys are very good kids. But getting to certain points where I'm like, okay, I'm going to let you do this, but if this happens, there's going to be consequences. And I've always told my boys, there's always consequences and rewards. It depends on what you choose.
Yep. So when they trigger you, how do you respond? Or has there been things that they do that
So
triggers
I
you?
have worked through a lot of my triggers with my kids. When they used to trigger me, I used to yell. And then that ended up being a trigger for them because of how they were raised in my previous life. But now I step away. If I'm triggered, I step away. Or if I'm on the phone with them, I'm like, I gotta go. Because I know that I'm being triggered and I don't want that to impact them.
Yeah.
Because it's not fair for them to be subject to my triggers when they had nothing to do with my triggers. That's not on them. That's on me.
Yeah.
But I definitely do have emotional moments when I'm encouraging my kids. I cry a lot because I'm like, I hate being vulnerable, and I'm being vulnerable with my children.
Yep.
And I don't like being vulnerable with my kids. And that's one of the things that I'm learning with my emotions, with emotional moments, having emotional moments with my kids, is I need to start being more vulnerable with them.
It's hard.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
God, it's hard.
Mhm.
Especially with the previous life that I've lived, and they're still in that life.
Yeah.
And it's really hard being vulnerable. But if I am not vulnerable with them, they don't tell me what's going on with them, and I want to help them through their emotional stuff. I want to help them guide them through life. But like my middle son said, it's like, how do you expect me to be a certain way with you when you're not this way with me? And I'm like,
Smart.
well, holy
Smart guy.
shit.
Yeah.
Why did you have to ask that?
Smart guy. Yeah.
But anyways,
Yeah.
go ahead, Mom.
We're talking about triggers?
Emotional, like how did you process through your triggers or emotional moments as we were growing up?
Growing up, I didn't.
Mm.
I stuffed them. I didn't. I had to do what I had to do, and it did not mean dealing with triggers.
Yeah.
Now that I see them, you pointed them, and you pointed them, and I sit back and I'm by myself, and I think, okay, how did this happen? How can I get past this? And, but no, I didn't deal with them. I survived them.
Mm.
Well, it really is a privilege to be able to be in a safe enough spot where you can deal with your triggers.
Mm-hmm.
That is a privilege as an adult when you're raising kids. So when you're in fight or flight mode, you're in survival mode, how are you going to deal with your triggers?
And emotional, like what emotional moments? I know, I remember I got the shit knocked out of me because I was being so disrespectful, and you just went wham right across my face, and I did a total like Valley Girl move. I was like, ooh! And looking back, I'm like, no, you totally deserve that.
Well, and it just popped into my head that as you kids were growing up, that's when a lot of my triggers I got. Because it was like and even at home, I go off on the, when there's a trigger, and then I'm like, okay, you got to back it up. You got to let yourself heal from this so you don't keep letting this happen. But I also noticed that when the darkness is brought to light, when the triggers, the why is brought to light, then the healing can begin. But it's a matter of identifying. You've helped me with that a lot in the morning. I didn't
Wait.
find
Good job.
No, but you helped me on the phone, like, just even venting, you know, even though it's not a great thing to do all the time. But then when I'm off the phone or you leave or something, I'm like, okay. Then I process and get to the root of the trigger.
And you just said that you don't agree with always venting, and I disagree with that. And the emotional moments that I disagree with is I think that getting it out and talking about it, even if it is venting, I think that's good
With the right person.
and in a
Yeah.
healthy way.
Yeah.
And in a healthy way.
Mhm.
So, like, if you called, I don't know, certain people, that would not be good for you, that would not be healthy. But doing it in a healthy way and being vulnerable, I think is a good thing, especially when you have people in your life that can be like, okay, let's take a step back, maybe put yourself in their shoes, or no, I understand and I feel that, but I think that venting in a healthy way with the right people, I think that's a good thing.
Well, and it was, I don't know, 3 years ago, because there was something in my life that I never told Dad about. And then he has grown to be that safe space, because he never was before.
He's come a long way.
He's come a long way.
Definitely.
And I told him about this one thing and explained a lot of things why I did what I did. But I also told him, don't make me regret I told you that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he only, and a few times, but not on purpose,
Yeah.
not like shoving it in my face.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he's come a long way,
He
and
really
I
has.
give him
He
kudos
has.
all the time for how far he's come.
Yes.
Because he's, hurt people hurt people.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What about you? Yeah, you thought that I was going to leave you out of this.
My daughter did. No, I actually think I told you about it. Patty was probably still laugh at me, but I have realized one of my biggest triggers
Mm-hmm.
and my daughter tends to be the biggest culprit of that because she is a lot like me.
Yes.
Okay, like we butt heads a lot.
She's a lot like,
She challenges me all the time. And she's so smart sometimes, even though she's 8, she comes up with good points. And I'm like, oh, just do what I told you. Don't question it. But sometimes it does, get heated and, we'll have different emotions. But usually I need to take some breaths. If the breaths don't work, I have to separate myself from the
Yeah.
situation. There was one day, me and both the kids were in the kitchen. We were getting ready to go to Grandma's house in the morning for drop-off so I could go to work. And all of us, I think, were just on edge. And, like, I got overwhelmed. They hadn't really done anything, but I just got super overwhelmed. I literally walked into my pantry, shut the door, turned off the light, and just stood there. And then Maddie comes and opens up the door. She goes, Mommy? I'm like, I just need a minute. And she goes, okay.
So sweet.
But I needed to separate myself. I was able to identify it. I looked a little crazy to my kids. But I also think it was important to see that.
Yeah.
Because I did what I needed to do when I was triggered so that I didn't freak out on them.
Yeah.
But yeah, they definitely thought I was a little crazy. Just walking into the pantry and sitting in the dark.
but it worked.
For us daughters.
Why ditched me?
I know. So it's just, yeah, it's gonna have to be the three of us. Were there moments when you wished your mom had done something different, and were you able to talk about it together?
Every moment.
Yeah. Mm.
Explain.
I think that every single decision that you made, I wouldn't have made that decision. Did we talk about it? We probably yelled about it. I don't think we ever No, I don't think we ever like actually talked about it until maybe we were out of that situation. Definitely, there was probably a lot of yelling from me. I had a pretty bad anger issue, but
What?
for me,
Are you
or
kidding me? Yeah.
for whom?
You.
Me, my anger? Oh my god!
Yeah.
Well, I didn't live with you so much.
I was punching the walls. I was throwing things. I remember one time my mom said something that pissed me off, and I literally threw something at her head. Do you remember that? About me? You
No.
said
I
something about
always
my
remember
grandma.
you.
Huh?
You said something about my grandma, and I lost my crap.
I have no idea.
I lost it on
I
you.
would never say something horrible.
I don't
Oh, you
remember.
probably
you
did.
did.
Yeah, you did. But yeah, I had a bad anger issue. Because I think that was the only emotion that I ever let myself express. It's a secondary emotion, so I just like bottled everything else up and let it come out in anger.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to be vulnerable and talk
Yeah.
about feelings. So.
I can totally relate to literally everything you just said, Nicole. Because, as we previously discussed, I did not agree with many, many things. There was a lot of things that I wish would have been different. And we never talked it out, ever. And I think that's where probably some of my anger issues started, is because there were a lot of instances that I didn't understand again, but I never threw anything. But man, was I a royal bitch to you.
Mhm.
And I didn't give a care. I did not give two shits if I was bad to
You
you.
didn't.
I didn't respect you at all. I didn't trust you. You were not my safe space. And I showed you that in a lot of ways. And I think that impacted our relationship a lot. So up until the point where we came back into each other's lives, that's when we started talking to each other. But growing up, being a young adult, ever. There was like, I think maybe a year when I got pregnant really young that you and I started being friends. And I could rely on different things, but no, our relationship has always been really
Mhm. Yeah, it has. But even if you would have, I wouldn't have opened up about anything. I would have kept that protection. That
well. And looking back at it now, I think part of the reason why I didn't respect you is because you didn't respect yourself.
no, I didn't.
And
it's-
yeah, and you didn't, yeah.
Same for me with my mom.
Yeah, no. When you start respecting yourself is when you quit putting up with the crap.
Yeah,
And I didn't.
yeah,
I was afraid to.
yeah.
Probably the biggest thing I had with my mom, I just never felt safe.
Mm-hmm.
Just the whole home situation, just constantly being unstable. Like that made me resent her a lot and be very angry. Like I literally would go to school and find what I called a victim, somebody I could take my anger out on.
Mm.
I got in a lot of fights at school, a lot of fights. But it was the only way I could process what I felt was to take it out on somebody else. Usually it was guys also, because stuff that she was doing usually involved guys. I don't know that situation.
And I want to go a little bit deeper, so everybody really buckled in now, because this is going to be like, so in those moments when we had anger issues or didn't respect, same thing with your mom. why, what in those situations that cause us not to respect and have anger issues towards the mom. So with me, it was fuck the world, man.
Slide the box.
It was because of the sperm donor, and you made stupid decisions with having us go and see him, knowing his past, and that made me really angry, especially with everything that he has done to our family or did to our family. And I didn't, and also how I was being treated by Dad's family and how I thought that you were allowing that to happen. And I think that's where a huge part of my anger issues came in, because I didn't feel like you were protecting me. And that is your job. I felt in that moment that was your job as my mom, is to protect me. And you didn't do that. And I think that that's where a lot of the disrespect came in, is because I never felt protected by you, ever. And ladies go! That's only me here.
I mean, I would say there has been with my mom. I mean, we were homeless at one point. My brother who lived with my stepdad and his girlfriend at the time. My mom and stepdad were having a side affair while he had a girlfriend. Girlfriend held an accident. I knew my mom was living out in the back shed while my girlfriend was in the house. My mom put me in this when I was in high school. After a high school dance, I was wanting to save myself for marriage. My boyfriend was like, "Hey, you're spending the night. You can come sleep in my bed." We didn't do anything because thankfully he did respect me. But like again, my mom put me in a situation where
It was questionable.
yeah, like that was a very high stress situation for me
Yeah.
that she put me in, that I, as a teenager, wouldn't have put myself in.
Right.
She was just constantly putting me in positions. Some of the men she invited into our house. I was 13, 14-year-old. They were looking at me very inappropriately. Like, some of them I'm pretty sure would have taken things farther. That protection was lacking, and I did not respect her at all.
That's completely understandable.
I think so. I never felt like my mom wouldn't protect me if given the opportunity. There was never a position, probably because of myself and my own brain, and I always kind of had the brain of like a 55-year-old woman, but there was never a position where I was in from her situation, like from her putting me in where I was unsafe like that. I think that if something would have happened, she would have protected me. But I guess I'm only going to speak for myself. I'm not going to say anything about my sister. But I just saw her constantly not respect herself, her constantly allow abuse and manipulation and addiction, and she would put it not only above herself but above us. And I just remember thinking, like, there is no way in hell I'm ever going to let a man do this to me. There's absolutely no way that I'm ever going to do that, or that I'm ever going to have children with a man who doesn't know how to control his emotions, that's just throwing temper tantrums and is an addict. And so I just didn't have any respect for her because she didn't have any respect for herself.
Yeah.
Very true.
But I don't think that I was ever like really disrespectful with you. Like there was a few times, but I don't think that we ever got to a point where I was like calling you names
No.
or anything like that.
No.
So why do you think you were so angry as a kid then?
Well, it wasn't as a kid. It was as a teenager. Once my parents got divorced, and then, well, even when they were married, the very end part of their marriage was pretty bad, and he was behaving very badly, and she was still putting up with it. And then once she met a new gentleman caller, she was no longer putting up with it from him, but she started putting up with it from another man. And there was conversation where she would tell me details about her relationship with the new boyfriend, even though she was still with my dad. And
I remember that.
I did that?
Yes,
yeah,
you
It
did.
was a long time ago.
Yeah,
I
it
was
was.
like 12. But like,
Yeah.
and I didn't like that.
Yeah.
And I didn't like being put in that position. And that started me feeling very angry. And then because she chose this gentleman caller, I lived with my aunt who was a severe opiate addict and was so abusive. Oh my God. And would draw on the walls and literally was a complete psychopath. Like a complete psychopath. And I couldn't say anything about it because my mom was in a different state and my dad was an unbelievable alcoholic. And my father, I tried to live with him, but he couldn't stop drinking either. And he got really abusive when he was like really angry when he would drink. Holes in the wall and like screaming and yelling and stuff. So that started my anger. And then I just started, I think I just really bundled it up and just unleashed it on just the male gender. Like just really kept all of that anger for men and how I'm absolutely, and honestly to this day, I've never met a man who wasn't controlled by his anger except for my husband. And so I think
And now
that,
you're 3 boys.
and now my 3 sons, yeah. And I just think that I tell him all the time, like, you're literally my soulmate. You are absolutely what God knew I had to have in my life because I don't think I could put up with another man. I really do. I love them, some of them, but I still hate them.
Are we supposed to do rebuttals or?
You can.
Oh, I
Attorney, rebuttal.
One thing is that when you are raised unhealthy, unhealthy is all you know. And as far as the sperm donor, like what we said before with, I was just the mouthpiece. That's how that was too. Even though, and I figured, which was dumb on my part, that if something was not right, you or your brother would let me know. And because I guess you're old enough, but it was an encouraged thing for weekends.
By whom?
Who do I live with?
Interesting. All right.
But that doesn't mean that I couldn't have said no. I'm not putting all the blame on one person. It was just an unhealthy, period. And I'm not trying to make anything right because it wasn't. I'm just saying that there was more to that. And usually what you heard from who was my friend for years is true. He knows.
Well, and I can tell you that your friend that you've had for years, she is incredibly respectful of everything that you have told her. And so she has never went into any kind of details other than you need to talk to your mama.
Well,
She is, yeah.
She told me that she's told you something and you didn't believe it or something. I don't know. But that's okay.
She did, but she didn't go into detail about it.